Hi everyone, I am the Sarcastic Sloth, and welcome to my channel. So today it's a follow-up video to the Thumin video I did not long ago, a handful of weeks ago, regarding the tidal wave of hate that she was receiving for drawing herself as Kiki from Kiki's Delivery Service, which is an anime character for those of you that aren't in the know. What I wanted to do, and I have spoken to her just to make sure that she was okay with me doing this video, because I didn't want to sort of feel like I was piling on or trying to speak for her or anything of that nature. But in regards to the comments that she's been receiving in the aftermath, I wanted to go through some of them. Some of them are sort of more obviously racist, and then some of which are sort of misguided attempts to try and help. And I just wanted to sort of point out exactly, well, what's wrong with all of these, quite frankly. So without further ado, let's crack on. So as per usual, everything we're going to be talking about today are my own thoughts and opinions on the topic, and if you do not like that, then ta-ra! So what I've compiled here are a number of comments, primarily from the YouTube video itself that Thumin put out called This Is Not Okay. I'll put links and cards just so that you'll be able to go and have a look for yourself and you can see exactly what was said in the video, and if you wish you can go through the comments yourself as well. But what I've got basically are sort of, they're either kind of unique or they are just sort of good examples of reoccurring themes that would come up within the hate comments, you know. First off, we've got this: the racism towards Thumin ain't that bad, it's little too stupid to take seriously. The fact that this character here thinks that they're in any kind of position to sort of be able to like quantify what is an adequate amount of racism to be able to receive, and what levels of racism as well, is quite astounding, really. It's kind of bizarre that anyone feels like they can do this. It's a sort of like a reoccurring theme that would crop up as well, where they're like, oh well, it's not that bad. But we already know that she's been receiving DMs where people have been wishing actual death upon her. So at what point are you supposed to go, well, oh well, this is a joke, and then, oh, this is sort of crossed over into what is, in your mind, I would imagine, more blatant and a more acceptable form of racism. It's really bizarre, man, that people think that they can actually tell people how to feel about the hatred that's being levied towards them. This is not singular, like I said. This is sort of a reoccurring theme that would crop up again and again. LMAO, you are the one looking for troubles, and you blame others. Pathetic. How can you draw in yourself as a character, not just blackwashing the character itself, which is a whole different subject, which, you know, we'll touch on here. But again, I'll put links to videos down below so you can see exactly what blackwashing and whitewashing is within the art community, because it is quite interesting. The fact that this guy finds it so hilarious that she's drawn herself as this Kiki character, and that somehow warrants the sheer amount of hate that Thumin has received is really bonkers to me, man. Now this one here is again another reoccurring theme because of the karma aspect of things. So this person has put, sounds like karma to me, not gonna lie. The karma theme comes up quite a lot here, really. The reason why that gets referred to is because she dared to do a video on blackwashing and whitewashing, and why she felt that blackwashing was okay and appropriate and whitewashing wasn't. Now again, I feel like if you go watch that video for yourself, then you can see exactly what's being discussed there. Again, I'm not an artist. I don't feel like I'm particularly well versed in the matter. I've seen a few videos, but there we go. To me it makes sense because it's more down to like a representation issue. In response, Thumin said, someone said to me getting racist slurs thrown my way is karma for sharing my opinions on whitewashing and blackwashing, and I find this stupid beyond belief. Apparently it's a crime to have an opinion, to the point of people trying to justify blatant racism. And I think that's a very valid point here. It's an opinion. She didn't say, this is how it is. She said, this is my opinion on it, and that's why I think that blackwashing is okay as opposed to whitewashing, because it's down to representation. She didn't say, you literally have to do this, pain of death, or anything like that. It was like, these are my opinions. Thumin continues, whatever my opinions may be on that topic, in the end I did not fix or blackwash anyone. I made an insert and drew myself as the character. It's a form of art cosplay, if you will. I don't get why people are reaching so hard to try and justify something that is just effed up. This is a very valid point as well, because she touched on the fact that it's, you know, in her mind, it's a form of art cosplay. And I can see that, you know, I mean, if I drew myself as a character, I don't think many people would have that much to say about it, if I'm being honest, as opposed to if Thumin drew herself as this Kiki, and everyone and their mum's got an opinion, and quite a negative one at that, it would seem. And it seems like there's just the same kind of issue within the cosplay world as there is in the art world. What's funny is, well, for my particular video, even though the response that people have been giving overwhelmingly were like quite positive and in support of Thumin, I actually got this, I think it was yesterday actually, where someone put, "Karma is a bitch." So the fact that Thumin, in these people's eyes at least, dared to approach this as a subject and have an opinion on it, and it wasn't an opinion that they liked, well, I mean, this is why that people think it's okay for her to have every racist slur that you can possibly think of thrown at her, cartoons and imagery like drawn, like, which are very derogatory in nature. This is where it sort of becomes different in my eyes, because like there's some people who are of the line of thinking of these are trolls and you shouldn't indulge the trolls, but I think it's not even that. I think it's the fact that the vast majority of people who have the problem with Thumin and, you know, the way that she's drawn herself, I've got to keep saying that because it's just something that gets ignored completely. She drew herself as Kiki and she had an opinion on the topic. I find it quite amazing that like people feel that like the amount of abuse levied towards her is completely justified. It's baffling. It's absolutely baffling. Another example here where someone, they just had to get something off their chest, so they say, "I have something to say but I'm not going to say," and then a response is, "What?" And the person goes on to say, "Okay, so if whitewashing isn't okay, how the hell is blackwashing? It's hypocritical to say that one it's okay but the other isn't." It's not a case that she blackwashed a character, she drew herself as the character. If you have a look at her art, you'll see that it is similar, but of course it's gonna look sort of like Kiki because it's anime at the end of the day. Anime is a very specific style of drawing. I find it kind of interesting that people, you know, are fine with like characteristics from every other race to sort of be put to one particular side in favor of the art itself. However, when it becomes to a black person, it has to be so ultra realistic to what in their mind a black person should look like, that if you dare draw anything that's even remotely in line with the anime style and have a black person involved in that way, well then, oh my god, let's all just freak out. And again, someone's popped in to say it wasn't blackwashing, she drew herself as Kiki, and that is the major point. I think the fact that she has talked about blackwashing and then on the other side of it has drawn herself as a character, people are conflating these two things together when they're nothing to do with one another. I think it's more just to do with the fact that she's insulted these people by daring to have a differing opinion in regards to whitewashing and blackwashing, so therefore they've used this to sort of come down on her like a ton of bricks and say absolutely anything that they feel is justified. Next one up here we have, "I have a question, why are you pushing a political agenda when you are being attacked?" There's not really much to say about this apart from it just seems incredibly ignorant to have lived through the time that we're living in, i.e. 2020 and 2021, and not be able to put those two things together. You know, the fact that race and politics are very much mixed at the moment. So it's a bit of a stupid question, but it's not the first time that a question came up in any of the comments either, so I just felt like we needed to have a little look at that. But yeah, just sort of use your brain, mate. Just use your brain for 2 seconds. It's ridiculous. And this is another sentiment that's mirrored quite a lot through a lot of different comments by a lot of different people. "I feel like you're just fueling the fire. As much as I want you to come back stronger than ever, I feel like you should probably be a bit quiet with this kind of fan art." I don't know. This I find quite amazing, to be honest with you. So if you fight back, that's you fueling the fire. If you are saying to people, well, this is what's happening for my having just drawn myself as a character and then just given my opinion on one particular subject, spicy subject though it may be, but it's an opinion nonetheless. And then for Thumin to bring attention to this, that's fueling the fire, because this is a sentiment that's not just within the art community. When it comes to black or, you know, people of color in general, it's more a case of, well, if you're dealing with racism, then you should just keep that to yourself, because the rest of us don't want to hear that, because we're here to be distracted and to not have to think about this kind of thing. When at the end of the day, this is very much a part of her life, and it's been made to be very much a part of her life by external forces. It's this thing of sort of microaggressive helpfulness which is like, I want you to come back and I want things to be the way they were before, so I don't want you to talk about these very major things that have occurred to you within your public life as well. It has been made to be a part of the Thumin story. People couldn't take her having an opinion and enjoying herself as a character. Absurd. You know what's kind of weird is, I know that this person thought that they were being helpful, but this is not helpful, man. I don't like racism, but putting your art out there and putting yourself out there, it just means attracting comments like this. It is the reality right now. So again, this is a sort of put up and shut up scenario, really, isn't it? I think I've talked about this on my last video, but just saying, well, that's the way it is, so you better just deal with it. You put yourself out there, so you should expect a tirade of racist abuse. I don't agree with that. Like, at what point, if people just shut up about the kind of racial hatred that they were receiving, then how would anything ever get better? It wouldn't. It just absolutely wouldn't. So again, this is a pointless comment. Saying I don't like racism, I mean, it's funny that they didn't say I hate racism as well, but yeah, whatever. I don't like racism. It sort of annoys me a bit. It's just, if anything, all that shows me is that this person has like a lack of any kind of compassion or empathy whatsoever. This is a bit of a long one, so hold on to your hats. It's sort of perceived helpfulness, but it sort of just comes off as like microaggressive, put up and shut up, basically. I don't hate you for standing up for black people. Actually, I admire you. Well, isn't that good of you? But watching your video, I just see you as someone doing more of a complaining, whining, or asking for sympathy from others, or asking for validation. You could have made this to seem like even if the world is against you, or nobody takes your side, you would still be strong and stand on your own. Not asking for viewers to take your side, to go against the other. I've seen stronger and more impactful video compared to this. Do you know what's interesting? This is sort of like, hey, I stand against racism, but you as a black person, I don't really like the way that you've been talking about how you've been receiving an onslaught of racism. So you should probably change that, and you have to be a singular person. You can only do this on your own and seem like a strong person, as opposed to actually asking other people to empathize with you and to just be a human being at the end of the day. This is outrageous. All of that stuff at the beginning might as well have not been there, because you said that, hey, this black person's experience and how they deal with it isn't good enough for me. I don't like it. So maybe you should have done it the way that I would have liked you to do it. I don't hate you for standing up for black people. Oh, well, thank you. Thank you so much. This is probably one of the more infuriating comments that I've saw, because it's like trying to butter her up with false compliments whilst viciously stabbing her in the back. If the world is against you or nobody takes your side, you will still be strong and stand on your own. Because that is, at the end of the day, what racist people want you to do. They want you to just be strong but on your own, and to sort of not encroach upon others with your business, because that's what it's seen as. It's your business, it's your thing to deal with, as opposed to this is something that we should all be dealing with to try and stamp out, because this is not on anymore, man. One of the more infuriating comments that I've seen. Pissed me off when I saw this, if I'm being totally honest. So I can only imagine what Thumin was feeling. This is another one. It's sort of within the same line. It's not quite as infuriating, because you can sort of see where the person was trying to come from, but maybe they just don't have the ability or the tools to be able to understand the situation fully. It's something that I think a lot of people who are black or people of colour come across quite regularly, really. So after 6 months of racial harassment, please do yourself a favour and quit social media for a while. Quit the Twitter, quit the Discord, quit the YouTube. I know it's hard to do, but there's so much more for the real world. Try to talk with your relatives or friends. Someday these digital weirdos will be bored and leave. Thank you for reading this message. I see where they were coming from with that. I see where they were coming from. But here's the thing. Thumin's business is via online. That's the reason why we're in this position in the first place, is because she has a YouTube channel and she does art. It's all online based. For you to have like the opinion of just like go outside and chat with your mates sort of thing and just quit all of this kind of stuff, it doesn't work. I see where you were coming from, because it's the kind of advice that you would just like give your mate if they were, you know, in some kind of online argument with someone, and it wasn't racial. It's just like sort of very basic advice, you know. It's like if someone's depressed, you go, well, have you been for a run? It's that kind of thing, isn't it, really? It's not actually helpful in any kind of way. I think the sentiment was right. It was done in a respectful way. So, you know, I'm not shitting on them. Please don't understand it as that. I'm just saying that this kind of helpfulness isn't actually helpful. So Thumin's response to this was, I know you mean well with this comment, but racism is literally inescapable for me. I face it in or outside of social media because of my skin color. There is nowhere I could possibly go to escape it, so I will just have to be strong and deal with it somehow. Of course, I have my friends and family there to support and uplift me, and everyone else's support too. I will be fine. But like I said before, leaving won't really make it go away or stop, which is why I will keep pushing through. Racism doesn't just happen online. That's the thing. I think this person didn't really quite grasp, and again, I'm not crapping on them. It's just the case that anyone else who thinks that this kind of comment is helpful, I just want to, you know, implement it into your head. It's not helpful. This whole go outside and touch grass thing doesn't actually work when you're talking about racism, because there's still something that's still going to occur in her everyday life. It's just the way it is, I mean, unfortunately. But yeah, like I said, I just wanted to highlight that in case like other people were thinking of doing this kind of comment and like, hey, just go outside, everything will be fine. It's not going to be fine in that regards. The only thing that's going to make things better is basically the path that she's going down, which is to highlight what's happening to her and to other black creators who are receiving this kind of hatred just for existing in the spaces and for daring to have opinions that aren't exactly the same as, you know, basically their white counterparts. Don't really have to look too far to see what kind of creators are favoured on YouTube. It is pretty blatant to see. Go show Thumin some support, and any other creators as well who are in similar situations. Think about all of the creators, black and indigenous and people of colour creators who don't talk about this because they don't want this kind of heat. They don't want this all the time in their comments. No doubt a lot of them are getting it in their DMs left, right and centre just because of the colour of their skin, just because of where they're born. It's madness. So let me know down below what you think about this entire situation. If you enjoyed the video, then like or subscribe, that would be much appreciated. But otherwise, stay safe out there.